Greetings, gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Perfect Date. We are going to get through chapter 5 to 4. Wow, we're only on chapter 4? I thought we'd gone farther. Anyway, let's get back into it. We have to do another research, a recon, a romance, and a final research. So let's go ahead and do Research 8. It's time to check on Muffin. I hope she's okay after those tests. I arrive at the lab at the usual time. As I walk through the door, the professor is standing right in front of me with a disconcerting smile on his face. Ah, Andrew! Perfect timing! Morning, Professor. Have you seen Muffin today? I haven't. Why do you ask? See for yourself! What is he on, other than gin? He steps aside, and as I enter the tent, I immediately see what he's referring to. Muffin is bounding and scurrying at breathtaking speed, sending everything in her path flying. She looks like she's flying in that picture. Doesn't she look happy? Oh my gosh. Crikey, Professor, what on earth has gotten into her? Some time ago, we tried to test a new sample on her, but there was no response at the time. I expect this is just a much delayed reaction to that sample. She's like a hyper kitten. Indeed. I have assignment for you today. You want me to catch her, don't you, sir? Absolutely! You must retrieve some samples for analysis. Skin, hair, saliva. Right, okay. The professor chuckles to himself as he wanders out of the lab. He's right to laugh. This isn't going to be easy. Muffin is bouncing all over the place. I stumble around for a while trying to catch her, but she's too fast. I'll have to think this one through strategically. Lure her with food, or sit down, let her come to me. I try the one thing that always works with Muffin. Food. I stand waiting with a handful of treats. Come on, Muffin, I've got your favorite. Muffin stops in her tracks and fixes her huge pupils on the food. She's suspicious, but she can't resist. She tentatively approaches. Suddenly, she leaps forward. I suppose she thinks she can grab the food and run back before I can catch her. She thinks wrong. After a brief tussle, I have her in my arms. She soon resigns herself to her fate. I give her the treats and she starts purring. I collect the samples with little fuss from her and replace her in her crate. Well, no wonder she was running around if they live in their crates all the time. I'm preparing and cataloging the samples when I notice something peculiar. The hair sample looks brittle, like it could turn to ash in my hand. I glance up at Muffin, and she's sleeping in an unnatural starfish position, as though she conked out mid-leap. It makes me feel uneasy. I go and give her a gentle stroke. She seems perfectly fine and relaxed, but I can't help feeling she seems older than before. I think I'm getting paranoid. Interesting. Alright, let's do our last recon, and then we'll rest. Recon 9. Today, the marigolds are cleaning out the lab's inventory. I should probably be there too. I might find something useful. I know my morning alarm is ringing, but I can barely lift my eyelids. I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to today or dreading it. I've promised to go in 2 hours early to help with the monthly inventory and deep cleanse of the lab. It's not the work I'm anxious about, but the fact that I'm doing it with the marigolds. They're an odd pair. They certainly don't say much, and I quite often feel that they're judging me. Oh well, sooner I get there, the sooner it'll be over. As I approach the lab, I can hear their voices raged in stage-type whispers. They're obviously having a row that they don't want anyone else to hear. I loiter around for a few minutes to see if I can pick up any tidbits that would be helpful. I'm not nosy, I'm just curious. Well, you know what they said about curiosity there, buddy, and you are turning into a cat. Be careful. It's a cat, Mason, okay? A cat. All it cares about is sleeping and eating. It's still a living thing, Mora. A living thing? It's glorified vermin is what it is. You're putting us at risk. He isn't the sort of person to mess with, Mason. Loyalty to the company is the #1 priority in their eyes. I have been loyal. It's my allegiance that's changing, not my loyalty. Do you know how ridiculous you sound? Allegiance to who? A bunch of cats? Mora, you know they're not just cats. You know when we signed our contracts. Not fully. It's different anyway, in real life. Living with them, knowing them, dating them. Knowing them? You know what I mean. I know if you mess us up, we'll be destitute at best. I feel I can't put this off any longer. Ahem, good morning. Ah, you're here. I'm not late, am I? Not at all. We were just discussing how to proceed. They exchange glances. You two can get on with the stock check. Leave the sanitation to me. Sounds good to me. Where do we begin, Mr. Marigold? Call me Mason. I have the list here, so I'll call the item, and you can tell me how many we have. Okay, Mason. And if I'm in your way, you just let me know, Mrs. Marigold. Yes, I'll be sure to. But if we each mind our own business, well, I'm sure it'll all work out fine, dear. The tension in the air is tangible. This could be a very long 2 hours. We start with the top shelf of the large metal cabinet. Standard test tubes. 20 boxes. Petri dishes. 10 boxes, mixed sides. Beakers, large. 25. Beakers, medium. 20. Only 20? That's a bit low. Have we had more breakages than usual? So I don't really have a good voice for either of these two because they've never really interacted before now. I decide not to tell them that I sometimes use them as tea mugs, and there are at least 3 in my tent growing mold as we speak. Yes, we've all been a bit clumsy lately. I know one was knocked off the counter by McMurphy this week. Nothing but trouble, them cats. Mr. Marigold continues with the stock take, so he didn't hear his wife. We move on to the next shelf and the next until we've almost finished the entire inventory. We're coming to the end of the drugs cabinet. Ketamine, 15 milliliters. 8 bottles. That can't be right. It says here that we normally stock 30. See for yourself. 2, 4, 6, 8. Do you use a lot of that then? No, on the contrary. It's mostly just used for anesthetizing. We rarely do that kind of surgery. Well, that's a mystery. I wonder what it could be being used for. You two will be a lot quicker if you stick to your counting and leave the wondering up to the professor. We finished the rest of the job without any unnecessary chat. We all seem to be deep in our own thoughts. Mine are all about where that amount of ketamine might be disappearing to and for what purpose. Suddenly, I don't feel too good. I don't blame you, buddy. Alright, a quick rest. Oh, not a quick rest. We're getting more and more of these. Kibbles and Trixie, neat. Trixie and Kibbles have brought me to the ridge where the pools of colored water collect. We call them the rainbow pools. It's a beautiful day and there's a vivid rainbow across the sky. Kibbles is over the other side from me, shouting, "Wow, look at this! Come over here!" He sounds further away than he is. My hearing isn't quite right, but I don't mind. What is it? You need to see it. Suddenly I am beside him. He's looking over the edge of the cliffs, and when I look down, the sea is further away than I expect. It's such a long way down. Do you see? And I feel a push from behind, and as I begin to fall, I hear Trixie laugh. Curiosity did what? Ah, you. And I'm not falling at all. What? I'm floating, light as a feather. Fly, little bird, fly away home. Are you dreaming? You're dreaming, aren't you, Andrew? This is the best feeling ever. I'm going higher now, up toward the rainbow. I'm gonna touch it. Mind you don't get scorched by the sun. I feel myself being shaken. Homie, you really ought to go in now. It's too hot out here to sleep. I'm on the patch of scrub grass beside my tent. I was just having a moment of shut-eye in the sun, but I must have fallen asleep. Oh, thank you, Trixie. I smile at the calico cat as I surreptitiously scratch at the prickly heat on my legs. I have the weirdest dreams. Alright, back up to full rest. Let's finish this up. Last romance. Hopefully, Trixie loves us and we've done everything right. Oh, the broken heart is so sad, though. Oh, well, the next person will, yeah, it'll be awesome. I've been following a familiar sound along the shoreline. I can't see Trixie yet, but I'd know that plaintive song anywhere. It leads me to her cave. Trixie, can I come in?
Wait a minute.
I can hear a flurry of activity, shuffling and liquid being poured. Trixie, are you nearly ready? It's freezing out here on this tropical island in August.
Come in.
Her voice is slow and sing-song. The cave is warm and welcoming. There are flower petals scattered on the ground and little jars of lucilites in every corner. Trixie is stretched out on a rock as though she hasn't moved, which is a lie when we know it. Hello, you. Long time no see.
I just woke you up earlier today, Humi. I wondered when you'd show up.
As soon as you invited me, actually? She ignores me and indicates a jar of amber liquid.
Help yourself.
She's in one of those moods, so I take a sip of the mana juice and make a note to go easy on it this time, remembering how potent it is. So, how's Trix?
Great.
You've not been around for a few days.
I just woke you up earlier today.
Oh, well, that didn't really happen. Come on, you know that. She doesn't respond. I thought you were avoiding me.
I was. You're creepy.
I force a laugh, but now I'm beginning to think I was right. Have I upset you, Trixie?
Well, in a way, I suppose you have.
Oh, I was kidding, but tell me, what did I... She cuts across me.
I don't mean to be rude, but would you mind just shutting up and letting me talk for a while?
Oh, of course. I'm a little anxious about what's coming, but I do as I'm told and sit in silence.
Life.
She pauses and smiles. I'm not sure if I should respond, so I just smile back.
Life is great and all, but sometimes it's not quite as great as you try to pretend it is. You get so used to making the best of it that you stop being aware that it's only silver, or sometimes even bronze. I mean, nothing to complain about, but then something happens that is so golden, so platinum-plated rose gold, that the fabulosity of it catches you up like a twister and turns everything upside down and inside out, so that you're flying and dancing against your will. You're powerless and powerful, and silver will never be good enough again.
So far so good.
Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all. I open my mouth, but she plows on without waiting for an answer.
I feel it now. The fizzing of my tummy, the fluttering of my heart. I am champagne, popping and sparkling, lightheaded and silly. Am I silly? I feel very certain and not silly at all, but I can't stop giggling, and my eyes are weepy all the time. I know what I want in my heart, but I can't connect it to my head. I feel happy. Truly happy. Not before happy, which wasn't really like being happy at all, but 24-karat happy and nothing less will do.
There's a long pause. I look down and see that my glass is empty, and I suddenly feel a bit woozy. Yeah, you really need to stop drinking around these cats. It never goes well for you, buddy.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. Your turn.
Oh, I'm not very good at speeches, and I don't think I can match yours.
A simple answer will do. Soulmates don't come along every day, Humi. We have a chance here to take a leap and see where the adventure takes us, or forever wonder what we missed.
Forever wonder. Yeah, that's what I want to do. No, obviously we're gonna take a leap. Course I'm in. Together forever. Let the adventures begin. Technically, I can't consent to anything right now because I'm under the influence. Trixie, stop. And Trixie and I begin to laugh and laugh until we're rolling around on the ground so that anyone who saw us would think we were a couple of crazy, intoxicated cats. Because you are. Achievement unlocked. Relationship goals, Trixie. Well, that went well. That's still good. We're still on track for the good ending, so let's go ahead and finish up this chapter. Yes, I'm ready. Research 11. Seems like the professor is adding DIY to my list of duties. I've been asked to help the caretakers today. I thought I just did that. Oh well, let's find out. I'm writing my journal. I guess this is different. I've developed a habit of getting up early and writing for 30 minutes each morning before I begin my day. I'm often so tired at the end of the day that I just want to fall into bed, and my journal gets neglected. Also, I like the way it grounds me before this strange island sucks me into the adventure of a new day. This morning, my concentration is being broken by a very odd noise, and I suddenly realize it's the sound of someone trying to knock on my tent flap. Hello?
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt.
I recognize the voice as belonging to Mr. Marigold, the island's caretaker. Oh, good morning, Mr. Marigold. I spring up to greet him, and then hit my head because I'm living in a tent. Can I help you? I would invite you in, but it's literally a tent. I indicate the chaos of my tiny tent.
Barely room to swing a cat, I know.
I laugh at his joke, but notice his deadpan expression and realize he's serious. I quickly move on, stepping outside. Is there something I can help you with?
I hope so.
And that would be?
Mrs. Marigold is taken to her bed. Proper sick she is, so the boss said I should ask you to fill in for her today if that's all right.
I know the professor well enough by now to understand that I don't actually have a choice. I am filling in for Mrs. Marigold today whether it's all right with me or not. Actually, I'm quite intrigued. I mean, I'm sorry to hear your wife's poorly. Nothing serious, I hope. But I'm happy to spend some time with you, Mr. Marigold.
Well, best make an early start then. You get your shoes on and I'll meet you at the jetty.
And before I can say another word, he's disappeared off toward the water. I quickly put my journal back into its hidey hole and grab my backpack with the field kit in it before stuffing my feet into my trainers. When I arrive at the jetty, I can see that Mr. Marigold has already started work mending the wooden rail, where a couple of the posts were damaged in a recent storm. How can I help?
Just pass me those pins as I go along. Need to reinforce this and then recoat it with preservative.
I'm a bit disappointed. Just so you know, I can use a hammer, too, if you have a spare. We could get this mended much quicker with two of us working on it.
There's no rush.
Oh, no, I suppose not.
You're here with me for the whole day anyway.
Oh, I didn't mean that. Actually, I'm pleased for the opportunity to break out a bit, try something different.
Bored of this place already.
He squints sideways at me. No, not at all. There's so much going on here. I haven't even begun to uncover half of what this island has to offer, I'm sure. I just meant it's nice to have the chance to get to know someone new. Company is in short supply here.
Human company?
He mumbles it half under his breath, so I'm not certain he even said it. I beg your pardon?
Seem to be getting on with the cats, though, eh?
Oh, yes, I'm spoilt for choice with feline friends.
Be careful with that.
I stop and look at him. He holds my gaze. What do you mean?
Be careful with those pins. You're going to have them over the edge in a minute.
I look down and see that in not paying attention, I have kicked the box perilously close to the edge of the jetty.
Closer to the edge than you thought.
I get the feeling we're not just talking about a box of nails. Yes, I wasn't paying attention.
Looking in the wrong direction. That's when we miss things right under our nose that could cause problems.
Mr. Marigold. We've stopped what we are doing and are standing up now, looking directly into each other's eyes. Do you know something I ought to know?
Such as?
Well, obviously I don't know, or I wouldn't be asking, would I?
I know you're an inquisitive little blighter.
Have you been watching me, Mr. Marigold?
Keeping an eye might be a more accurate way of putting it.
Well, thank you, I think.
You're welcome. But I wouldn't be so quick to trust people if I were you. You don't know me, or my intentions.
And suddenly he lets out a roar of laughter and gets back to work. I have a feeling you're one of the good guys, Mr. Marigold.
Call me Mason.
I hand him pins and we say no more. But as I go over our conversation in my head, I realize I've heard those words before, some very like them. The nameless message on my catalog, be careful who you trust, and it hits me. Mr. Marigold is my messenger. Mr. Marigold can glitch the world like that? That's weird. I've come to the forest to gather my thoughts. Okay, see you on the other side, because this is going to be exactly the same. He's got a little mohawk. I'm exhausted. Can we stop for a second to catch our breath?
You're an old cat. We've only been dancing for an hour.
You dance, I'll watch. And she giggles and dances while I recline against a rock in the evening sun, cooler but still deliciously warm. How did I get to be so lucky? I look back to when I thought having the virus was the worst thing imaginable, and it makes me smile. The day I decided to throw in the towel and allow myself to become a cat was the first day of a life beyond my wildest dreams. Why would anyone want an antidote? Being a cat is amazing. Being the Trixie is even better. I lazily stretch and slowly fall into a nap. Trix settles beside me, the two of us curled up. Our bliss is only briefly disturbed by the familiar sound of the ferry arriving at the pier. It seems my replacement has already arrived. They'll never look here, though. We know exactly where to stay safe. I wonder if they'll be as fortunate as me. Achievement unlocked, Chapter 4. We had 3 successful dates. Trixie is happy. Our love is written in the stars. Excellent. Let's go ahead and end this one here. And thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, any great ideas for anything, let me know in the comments. And as always, keep on gaming.